What it do, what it is, what it ain't. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Get Right Podcast. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to get notifications of new content. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you dig? Cue the music.
Yo, what it do, what it is, what it ain't. It's your boy T, man. It's the Get Right Podcast. And of course, you already know, never rolling solo. I got the dog with me, my homie Rod, the brain trust. Hit us with them 3 words, bro.
What up, though?
And as always, man, Mr. Misconception, he's not gonna be here with us. Again, he playing hooky one more time, but this one is a good reason, man. And definitely shout out to him, man, as he witnessed the graduation of his daughter at Full Sail University out there in Florida, man. So he got a college grad, man, and so he spent his time with his baby girl. DC, congratulations to you. Congratulations to you as well. We definitely proud of you here. You know, you got the uncles on the show. We definitely happy for you, man. We definitely want the best for you, and don't forget us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be an extra when you write that super movie. So I just want to be an extra, just chill. Just let me get on the elevator or something, say hello or what floor. That's all I want. That's it. But DC, man, we'll miss you, man, and we catching up. But we got another person who will hang out with us. Not for the first time, for the second time. We're gonna run it back. We had a great conversation with her last season. We talked about the community, man, and just educating ourselves and getting a perspective from her lens. So we got the homie Christy J running it back. What's up, girl?
What's up? Back like I never left. Let's go.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So since the last time we chatted, how have you been? What's been going on? What's new with you?
Man, so much, let's start with I no longer identify as Christy J, as my invitation says Christy and my name, so we're gonna drop the J.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's soon to be changed. More to come soon. So we're just gonna leave it at that. Um, and outside of that, life is great. Life is beautiful. I'm the
Mhm.
glass half full person, so almost any and everything we're gonna turn to a different light. So I'm super excited about the conversation at hand today. And I do got some questions for y'all, so I'm ready. I'm super
Cool.
excited.
Yeah, let's turn up. So, one happy Women's Month. As always, like this month, we love to have some super dope females just join the show and just talk, man, and of course help us too. You know,
Absolutely.
from the women's side of the fence as well. But we definitely want to honor many women just across this whole planet what they're doing, how they're doing, how they moving, all that good stuff, man. And I thought about you because I was like, I would love to have you back on the show. Just you, the homie, and we told you we was gonna bring you back sooner or later. And so, why not Women's Month? And so,
Appreciate that.
shout out to you this month and every month, though. So, you know what I'm saying? It's not just we paying homage this month, but shout out to you, period.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, in Women's Month, when you think about Women's Month, like what's something that inspires you, or who it has inspired you?
Oh,
Is-
good question. Whew. So honestly, it really just goes down a trickle effect. Just kind of depend on like what I'm looking at. Um, but honestly, as cliche as it may sound, I always got to pay homage to my mother and my grandmother. Just because they've seen a lot, been through a lot, and they coach me through life.
Hmm.
And for me, that'll always be like my play too. But you always pay homage to the ancestors, of course. But honestly, mine's is always going to be from the root. Because I couldn't be here without them. So I always like to lead with that. But all in all actuality, I do feel like um one of the latest and greatest would probably be one of my teachers, which again is a little cliche because people like to go for like famous people, but I usually like to direct it to people who
Yeah.
have had direct impact in my life. And I feel like I had a math teacher in high school who just did not let me go. She carried me, I feel like, through high school. So her, shout out to Miss Scott. She is Detroit Public Schools all day. Love her to death. And my grandmother and my mother. So that is who some of the women who are who I am.
No, that's dope. That's dope. Rob, you was about to say something, bro?
Nah, I was just gonna just clarify it's Women's History Month. Just we don't want no people coming at us, right? Get it right.
Yes. Yes, my
Yes.
bad.
We celebrate women all the time, but
Yes.
this year we celebrate the history of
The
the woman as well.
history. Yes, the history.
Boom.
Good call out, Rod.
Boom.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that.
And low key I saw I don't know something on social media, one of the platforms, but my wife sent me something of showing everything that women have invented or at least laid the foundation for. And
Mhm.
bro, this country would be lost. And I'm gonna just give you one example:
Yeah,
the
that's
windshield wiper, bro. I never looked into it, but one day it was raining hard as hell. Like, I mean, you can't see anything even with the wipers on full speed. And I'm like, man, whoever invented the windshield wiper, thank you, bro. Even though that day it wasn't really helping, but just think about if you didn't have that in your everyday commute, like what would you do? And she sent me that video.
Mary Anderson, huh?
It was a female that invented the windshield wiper. I said, look at God, look at that. I like it.
Yeah.
No, I went down that rabbit hole too, and I learned
Hmm.
that about the dishwasher too. And I was like, you know what?
Hmm.
Anything that you do that makes life easier, 9 times out of 10, shout out to a woman. Like, no offense, guys,
Hmm.
but like, it's like we create, and you guys kind of come with that follow through to kind of like help us solidify it. But yeah, I definitely went down
Hmm.
that rabbit hole too, and the windshield wipers was one of the things I learned too.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
wild. So yeah, it's crazy. Like you'll actually spend some time on it if you allow yourself. Like you say, it's a rabbit hole, and you'll just things that you don't really learn in school or it's not really talked about. You actually have to dig deep to find some of these things. But yeah, specifically, there was a black woman that laid the foundation of what we consider GPS today. So shout out. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry,
Oh
but shout out to her
yeah.
too.
I can't remember that too, man. You know, Google shout out DC. Google's your friend. Uh
100%.
Gladys West.
Gladys.
Shout out Queen. Cause she did her
Yeah.
thing, yeah. Whoever thought, man, I'm lost. I mean, and back in the day, we all used to probably witness our parents or family members. Anyone you probably did a road trip with, reading them out.
Hmm.
I remember those times. I used to see my parents literally reading them out. Like my mom got that thing unfold like 5 times. And you trying to
Hmm.
hold that thing like, oh yeah, that's the road right there, ain't that? Marker
Yeah.
68. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep going.
Yeah. My mother-in-law still use that map. I'm like, if you don't put that damn thing away, like, man, we got technology.
They still
Use
sell
it.
them? That's
Um,
that's the crazy
right.
part.
Right. Right. Now you can still go to I think AAA and grab a map, but
Evolution
I,
is cool, but then when you think about how many things like our children won't know necessarily organically because of
mhm,
the times, right? Like I even think back to, I think it was that cusp. Like I'd never actually experienced using MapQuest,
mhm,
but I do know like the generation before me did, and so it's like by the time my daughter like drives, Tesla's a thing, so she don't even really have to learn how to park.
mhm.
Don't got to learn how to do, maps and things like that. So I was just like, wow, like evolution is awesome, but it's also crippling sometimes when you think about all the things that our kids won't
Huge.
learn naturally.
Yeah,
Mm,
we had this conversation not too long ago, and Christy, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you work for the same organization that we do.
Correct.
Well, and obviously, not just us, but the world is moving to this AI generated type of platform,
mhm.
Hmm.
just worldwide, right? It's not even the future; it's now, right? And you hear a lot of people that have fear of what AI may do to our society, which are valid concerns, right? I'm scared too, right, of certain things,
Hmm.
but there are certain things that technology can be used to simplify things that
Right.
need to be simplified, right? And allow humans to do human things. Now, what you're referring to is taking the human element out of it and making us like, I just think back to the Jetsons, right? Where your George main job was to push a button, right? Like that was there wasn't really any thought to that, even though he sometimes screwed that up. But that's what I think about when you take the human element out of it, because it kind of limits your thinking ability, which
Right.
is scary because obviously we don't use majority of our brain anyway. I think it's like a statistic that say we only use about 10% of our brain capacity on a given day. So if we minimize the 10% that we already use right now, that could become a scary thing.
Agreed.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So what's your thought on that? Like Christy, like as a young lady, and you talked about your daughter, someone that inspires you. Like, what's your thought on that as you're getting her prepared for the future?
Yeah, I feel like again it's a caveat to it, right? So
Hmm.
uh having her move with the times of now, like Ross said, right now we're everything is AI, right? So having her be an expert in learning AI as young as she is now, maybe she can create something that will make life even easier.
Hmm.
So I'm definitely excited to see like where the world goes by the time she gets to be of my age, right? But at the end of the day, it's like one of those things where I don't remember the movie. I think it's End of the World or some movie that's kind of like saying like how like Teslas was like driving themselves into like
Hmm.
each other and like the negative side of things,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Julia Roberts. I can't remember the
Yes.
name of the movie. I
Yes,
just
that
watched
movie.
it too.
And it was really good, but then it has you thinking, right? And it's of course it's like one of those things where every good can have a bad and every bad you can
Hmm.
look at it as good. And I feel like I think we all naturally have fears of the unknown. But the
Hmm.
evolution part, like I really do try to be the glass half full. So for me, I'm like super excited. And it as much as opportunities people feel like maybe lost for different job functions, I also feel like there's a big gain, right? There's a big thing right now with black people in tech, and I'm so happy about that because that's a
Hmm.
whole nother industry that we weren't able to tap in for the longest, and now it's like its own community.
Hmm.
So I'm super excited, like as a human in general, I'm like, super excited about the future, and as a woman in general, I'm like super duper excited to be raising my daughter in a time like this. To be honest, because I feel like when she was first born, I was like, what am I doing? I'm bringing a little lady into this world, this crazy world we have. Uh, but
Hmm.
but the more exciting things happen, yes, there's some things that we're gonna touch on today that
Hmm.
I'm not super excited about for her, but ultimately, I feel like if we take the good out of the bad, I'm excited.
For sure.
Yeah. You said it earlier, glass half full. So, and yeah, well, man, I want to be able to phrase this question on the best way possible too. So, like, as we're moving to the future, things are changing. Um, as a woman creating her own history,
Mhm,
as well with so many others that we recognize, and man, like Billie Holiday, Josephine Baker,
mhm,
to name a few, right? Who came from the LGBTQ plus IA community,
mhm.
right? They blazed the trail. They went through some trials and tribulations, but they blazed that trail for the next person and for the next person and so on. As things are changing now in the world of politics now, like what is your feeling with that? Like thinking about like, man, who do I vote for? What's the right decision? And how does that tie in with like you said, your little one?
Yeah, that's a loaded heavy
Very
question.
heavy, heavy,
Honestly, I feel like uh voting is so tricky. Politics is so tricky.
very.
I feel like that's a different conversation for a different day, but to keep it like very broad, I feel like I do a lot of research when it comes to anything that I feel like would affect not only me and my family, but also to the people closest to me. Because I feel like oftentimes when it comes to voting, a lot of times we think very selfishly, like
Yep.
in that moment. And you hear that I'm gonna use this word lightly, but I don't want to use the word lightly, but I think ignorance is something that plays a big part in voting sometimes because
Oh yeah.
it's one thing that'll have you stuck, right? Like the one main reason people voted for the last president, and then the president before that. It's like one little stick it, and you be like, that really cannot be all the only reason that you're voting for this person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do try to do a lot of research, but then it can take you down a rabbit hole, and then you get caught up in it. I think being as educated as you can be and in the matters that are most important to you would help. I would say that when it comes to voting, I do get a little frustrated because sometimes there is no good choice in my opinion, right? So it's like, who is the better of the negative? When it comes to voting, I really just try to be very educated on the topic at hand. I try to dig a little bit deeper into the person too, but I feel like if you're really, really good at politics, you're really able to clean up certain stuff that maybe was there yesterday and not there today. So I do feel like the more it gets closer to voting time, things that was on the internet is really harder to find. So with that, I don't know if that really answered the question. I feel like I went so
Yeah.
far off. Sorry,
But
T.
no,
Yeah, no,
no,
I
no,
mean
no, you
that's
did.
yeah, that's a touchy situation, right? Like I think they said you never ask anybody how old they are and what they who they are voting for, politics or whatever like that. So it's a touchy situation. I think you kind of hit on it a little bit there. Is people make emotional decisions when
Yeah.
they vote,
Hmm.
right? And uneducated decisions, quite frankly. But the concern becomes is, how can I phrase this in a way that's not going to get me canceled? I think overall politics in itself has some demons, right? It is, to me, it becomes kind of who can scratch your emotional itch, right?
Yeah.
When in the background they're all moving towards the same type of goal. Like it's all handshaking behind closed doors, but to the
Hmm.
public, all you see is the bickering back and forth. And hey, when you get in, this is what we're going to do, and I still slide you some money for this. And that's just based off of my little knowledge of what happens in politics. So it's a corrupt industry in itself, which makes it hard to fully invest into it. I think DC may have touched on it in the past, and T is really when you're talking about presidents, not much is going to change in your everyday life, to be honest with you. But it's
Yep.
those local elections, the judges, the people that can actually make differences in your community. Those are the ones that we have to pay more attention to, dig into, and really make educated decisions, because that's the things that's going to affect you personally, right? That's how I feel about it, at least.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's the city council. Yeah, like we was talking about the city councils, your local mayor, governor. Um, but no, Chrissy, you definitely answered it well. I like when you said doing your research because it is a lot of emotion, and that's what the media
Mhm.
puts out: emotion, 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 emotion. Right? We talk about Trump with the sneakers, right? We talk about like Biden says something that you kind of be like, wait, what? What did he say? Or I didn't even understand what you said. And then they make that a rolling reel.
That's everything, bro.
I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice, but I mean it is. And so you, like you said, um, it does make you like, oh man, where do I land on, right? And I mentioned in the last show, man, one thing you better have is faith. 'Cause if you
Hmm.
ain't
Mhm.
got that, man, like you definitely in a little bit of trouble. But the other things is just like, yeah, like where do I land at, and what benefits the person behind me. So that's where my thought process is now, man. Just being a father, and I was like, all right, this is gonna benefit. How's this gonna benefit behind me, and those things that change. And Rod, you said it last week. He was like, bro, what's gonna happen there? 2 weeks ago, he was like, oh, it ain't like somebody ever comes in, like you said, those handshake deals. Okay, the next person that comes in, they're gonna change some policies, and then the
Mhm.
next person after that gonna reverse it,
Hmm.
and then the next person after gonna change it back. Unless
Mhm.
unless they unless they end up winning back to back, it'll stay the same for 8 years. But then the next person that's gonna come in, change it anyway. You know what I mean? It literally is like not to make light of the White House, but no, it is the house. Like I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna change it. I don't like that paint. This is the new paint.
Mhm.
And then another person come in like, nah, I don't like what they did with that room. We gonna change it back. So
Mm.
you just really hope you make the best decisions. Like you said, um, educated and not emotional. So no, you answered that well. Like you said, it's tough. It's tough out here, and I know like you as a and I again as a woman, I know there are certain things. There's all these different laws that's coming out, man. That certain women can and cannot do now. For me, I'm worried about that, and I think about my wife. I think about my daughters. Um, and so yeah, doing the education is key.
And hitting on that is just like, I woke up one day, it was random, and I was just like, when do we get to a place where women's rights needed to be a law, right?
I
Like,
don't
Mhm.
know. That's a good question.
and then you wake up and you be like, wow, I can have certain freedoms, and then they can all be stripped, all because of who's in a position of power. And I feel like it runs so deep when you think, because last month was Black History Month, and this
Hmm.
month is Women History Month. So back to back, you think of Black women history, and it's like you overcome one adversity and you move forward. And I really do commend all women, but Black women especially, because we are still fighting for things that we've been fighting for forever. So it's a big deal with some of the things that we are fighting for when it comes to rights to our bodies. And I feel like it shouldn't be of question. And I also feel like there's things that's being passed quicker, in my opinion, for other said genders than ours. And it's crazy. I do feel like it runs deep, and I feel like uh, I have that conflict, right, of like being a woman, and also
Hmm.
raising a young lady to become a woman, and also being a part of the community. I don't always agree with certain things, and I think that's something that is a bigger picture too, that you got to kind of dissect in, right? Because it's like now we have people in our community, right, like the trans community, that's fighting for their rights, and I totally understand that. Uh, but if there has to be a priority list, I feel like women, cisgender women, to be specific, should be at the top of that list. And it's sad when you really think about it. It's super sad that I can't do what I think is in the best interest of me, without it being something like I have to go to a different state that allows me to do such things to my body, and
Right.
or having to have a male that is my partner or something like that say it's okay. And it's deeper than that, because I was educated a long time ago that as women, we had to have a certain amount of kids or be a certain age just to get our tubes tied, which I feel like is very subjective in this world, right? Like, who are you to say I need a certain amount of kids to finalize the process of what I want,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
that's the
then
traditional.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then a male can be as young as 18 with no real reason to wanting it, just because they want it, so a
Hmm.
vasectomy versus a tubes tied should really be equal. So it goes back to things like that, and also too, just kind of thinking about the history of a woman, and all the things that we've endured, and being a woman in HR. It's just like equal opportunity for pay and equal opportunity for jobs, and it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper into like really just trying to advocate for the ones behind us, like you said, T.
Yeah. It's it's big. Like you and to tie to what you just said, even like those laws, man, it was funny. Like you said, you hear those things that get people emotionally charged. Like, there's a quote in the headlines like, "Hey, if you have me run, back in office again for a second term, I'm gonna push to change Roe v. Wade." And I'm like, bro, you should have did it a long time ago. You
Hmm.
do it now while you're here. And
Exactly.
so, you can get emotionally charged up by that. And I was like, man, let me do some more reading on that. And it's like, okay, yes, he made the quote. Was there more context to it? Yeah. But should you make the quote? No, because it's clickbait.
Exactly.
Like you know what you're doing when you say that in front of a camera or a hot mic. And so, yeah, man, I don't, man, you make me take deep breaths on here. It's tough. It's tough out here, man. And for you, all the young ladies out here, and as you again continue to make history, and build it forward. I hope there's a next one. I was hoping, me personally,
Hmm.
I was back in my mind. This is my first time even saying it on air or even out. Not probably my second time out loud. I was hoping like Kamala Harris would probably even just take a step out and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna run." I was just hoping like I'm gonna run. I ain't finna sit second chair. I'm gonna run and see what happens.
It's politics, bro. I just told
I
you what it
know.
was.
Yeah. Someone probably say, "Hey, sit tight for a
Hmm.
minute." But
Yeah,
unfortunately, I wouldn't have listened.
bro. She was only picked the VP because she's black and she's a woman, and he needed those votes.
Hmm?
Only reason. Just the only reason that she was picked as his particular VP. So, like, she's not going to get that opportunity, especially if you want to stay in that political game. Like, you got to play it. Unfortunately, that's why I'm not a politician. I can't sit back and watch, wrongdoings and bad decisions for the American people. Like, these are people you're talking about. People, not property. People. Like, you shouldn't have a choice over what the next person can do to their selves, or it's, I don't know, it's just so simple to think about. It's like, how complex does that have to be in order to just say, yeah, it's their right? It's crazy.
This,
But these are the same people that said black people were 3/4 of a human.
yeah, it's still documented
How is
to
that even
this day.
possible?
To this day, still documented, man. And then I don't know, Chris, have you been following any of this craziness on the
Yes and no.
news?
Yes and no.
Do you see the recent thing with Katie Britt?
I didn't.
So I put some context to it, right? I don't know. Did you see it?
I don't even know who that is, bro.
Oh, she's senator. Sorry, she's a Republican senator from my great state, that I love, Alabama, man, and obviously, the State of the Union. You could add that State of the Union top of the year before your final, run to
Mhm.
November. So Joe Biden did that. Of course, all the Democrats, Republicans, they all in the room. Yada yada yada. That's when he made that mistake and called Lauren Riley, Lincoln Riley. Um,
R.I.P. Lincoln Riley, bro.
yeah, the head coach from Southern Cal. But anyway, after the State of the Union, usually you get a rebuttal. So that someone will go and speak for the Republican Party, or vice versa. If it's a Republican president do the State of the Union, somebody from the Democratic Party will be like, "Hey, we heard what you said for your hour, but let me combat like three things that you said that try to make you look like that's false, right?"
Hmm.
So they use Katie Britt, senator from Alabama. It's Women's History Month. Like the whole thing was staged. You could tell it was teleprompted. Everything she read was from a screen. Um, you can tell that there were certain lines that said, "Take a deep breath, pause for dramatic, make your voice shaky." You can tell it was totally scripted. The bad part about it for me watching it was one she was saying, as a woman, this is where I started my work at. And traditionally they had her live in a kitchen. So it made it look like this is a woman's place in the kitchen. So that's the thing that it gives off. And then she was saying like many of us in this country, this is where we have dinner at. And I was like, man, not really anymore. In the traditional hive, you're always on the go. You want to sit down and have dinner with your kids, but it's not like that old time where everyone gets at the table and sits down. But to put a woman out there like that, for me, I was like, they put a woman out there like that. And one, she's not like Rye, y'all just said, man, we never even heard of her because she's not out there in the public like that. So you put someone who's not always out there in the public like that for public speaking to the world. Maybe, yes, in Alabama, but not to the world. And then you put her in the kitchen. And then her first line is, "This is where I spend most of my day at," talking with my kids and so forth. You kind of make her say, "Yeah, this is the woman's place." And I just really think they missed the boat on that rebuttal. It was really bad. If you guys go online and look up Katie Britt, you will see that even people from the Republican Party, Democratic Party, people, again, the world's watching. People from
Hmm.
other parts of the world was like, "Oh, this is terrible." And so I really just feel like it was just embarrassing for me. And then even listening, shout out Auntie Whoopi, because Whoopi Goldberg went in on the View, like how desensitizing that was for a woman. Just to say, oh yeah, put you in the kitchen, and then this is the leading line you start off with, and we see you because if you ever pay attention, if anybody pays attention when people are speaking, you can see they reading the teleprompter. Just look at their eyes; you can actually
Mhm.
see it reflecting. So you can tell she's just really reading straight from the prompter. She didn't blink. There's no really emotion. Very robotic. They set her up for failure, in my opinion. And then again, being in Women's History Month, it makes a woman look bad.
Yeah, but to that point, I think one thing I've been like coaching in the professional setting is the message is as strong as the deliverer,
Right.
or the person who's given the message rather. And so for me, it's kind of like one of those things where in politics and for political gain, I would take that with a grain of salt. And I feel like if you're educated enough, you'd know um, that 9 times out of 10, it, like Rod says, it's handshaking in the background. It's you're going to do this because you really don't feel like you have any other option, right? So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like they are doing the puppet play. Like I'm going to place you here, make you say that because this is what we want to be portrayed.
Right.
N- Never has anyone really in that kind of power ever said, "Let's go out here and make women look more powerful in today's world." Never, never. And same with blacks in general. Like it's just one of those things where it's just like listen to the message, be careful of who's the vessel of that message,
Mm.
and what do they have to gain from that message, right? And ultimately for me it's one of those things too where it's like just how you do something for positive, like okay, I'm going to go out here and campaign and feed the homeless because voting is around the corner. It's the same thing in reverse, right? Like I'm going to set this play up because this is the message that I want to get out. And I think once we as a people in general just start looking at like what's the message, who's delivering it, what is the gain, what is it in from, what is the with them, like once people start really like being informed of why things get out there, it'll be more impactful. Like I feel like um I forgot who mentioned this when we were on last time, but we were talking about TikTok and what TikTok looks like in China versus what it looks like here.
Hmm.
It really is it really is a dramatic difference. But it's like again, it goes back to the message to deliver the audience. What's the
Yeah.
delivery? What's the perception? What is the gain? What is the loss? And I feel like that's what's driving the U.S. right now, unfortunately.
Agreed.
Go ahead, Rod.
Agreed. No, I just said agreed, man.
Yeah.
It's 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 a weird place to be in right now. Um, I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest with you, though, because I would rather be living than not. So it still is a very interesting spot that we're in because when you look at our history, we have come a long way, which to Christie's point, glass half full, right? We've come a long way. We've made some great strides, but we still have, man, a hell of a race to go. So it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be interesting for the ones behind us. And I'm hoping that they see it better than us because that's what every parent hopes for their children is that they get to experience a better life than what we had. And I'm not going to say my life was bad, but we've seen some craziness. Um, the fear that I have is that it's starting to revert versus progress. And I don't really know how to stop it.
I think it's going to be one of those things, though, right? That uh, it regress or go back, it reverts, and then it all hell's going to break loose in a good way. And I just feel like that
Hmm.
because this generation that's coming up is so unfiltered,
Hmm.
so so about them and what makes
Yeah.
sense for them. And I do feel like they have no fear, right? And if they do, it doesn't show it, it doesn't exude. And I feel like the confidence that the generation behind us has and the all balls to the wall type of attitude that they have, I feel like a lot of the things that's reverting, they're gonna be like, nah, dog, this ain't for me. This ain't this
Hmm.
not. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like they kind of have that freedom. they have that freedom. They don't know that what that fear really looks or feels like, which is a good thing, right? Because you can't fear something you never experienced unless you get a real big insight on that. And I feel like a lot of
That's
the
true.
things that may have kept us quiet won't keep them quiet, right? The
Mm,
things that kept the generation before me quiet didn't keep me quiet. So I feel like as generations go and get a little bit more comfortable and have a little bit more freedom, I definitely, again, I go back to just being excited because I can just tell the way my daughter moves at 8 that there's no way in hell anybody's going to be able to make her be anyone. She's not going to be anyone's muppet or puppet, right? So
mhm,
I definitely feel like I've seen some things on even social media, um, and networking in the real world, and just kind of having certain conversations that uh, I'm super excited about. But I do see what you're saying. Like there is a lot of things that feels like we're going backwards, but the people
mhm,
that's coming behind us, they're not going for it. They're not going to be going for it. So I just feel like it's one of those things we're taking 2 steps back, but we're gonna have 5 steps forward in the next couple of years.
mhm,
Yeah. I think Rod, you said it best. What you said, Christy, is the gift, but can be the curse in certain elements of the world.
Mhm.
And because we talk about it all the time, just being sports fanatics. Like you look at college football, you see like kids, basketball too. Like kids will just transfer college if it just don't work out that first year. They're like, "Man, it ain't for me. I'm leaving." It's kind of like we from our generation, like, man, toughen that shit out. Like get through it. And you have a get, nah, I'm straight. I'm making a move. This ain't gonna work for me, so I'm making a move. I need it to benefit me. And then when you
mhm,
take that to the political side, yeah, that I can see where you saying like, yeah, they're like, we about to do this law. Nah, it ain't for me. It doesn't make me feel good. So nah, it ain't for me. So I do see that point, Rod. You did make a point, Rod, where yeah, it's gonna, get a little dark, but it's gonna be like yeah, the ones behind us gonna be like, I don't. It doesn't make me feel good. So guess what? We all gonna change it, and we all gonna have an uproar about it. And this is what it is. You look at it in the job industry.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like ain't nobody staying. No one's staying at jobs long no more. They're
And
like,
that's a trend. It's like
that
it's
is
a
a
mhm,
big
trend.
trend.
It's like, oh, you don't, and they even they so vocal about it, like, you don't stay in a job longer than 2 or 3 years because you're getting underpaid. Don't stay at a job for 2 or 3 years. Then you think about 5 years ago, and they say, longevity is key. They don't care.
Yep.
You try to coach them through, like, look, job hoppiness does not look good on a resume. They don't care. They do not care. They
Yeah.
do not care at all.
yeah. See, that's I don't know. That's hard for me to embrace.
Hmm.
But
That's
it's old
us. That's
school.
hard for us. Yeah, right. But you see, like you
Yeah,
said, the young generation, they be like, oh, that law, you got 1 year to fix
yeah.
But
it.
in the
You got
cusp,
1 year to fix it, or we about to raise
exactly.
hell.
But I
So
feel like
yeah.
I'm in that weird cusp, right? Like I feel like I'm right in the middle, right? Like I see
Mhm,
both
Mhm.
sides. I agree with both sides and I support both sides because being someone in HR, I feel like I see it both ways, right? Like don't
mhm,
why would you stay in a place that you're unhappy and you feel like you're not
mhm,
getting
Right.
that growth as fast as
And
you
that's
should?
fair.
Go ahead, keep jumping until you find something that makes you happy. Because deep down inside, that was me for a while, right? And then I became a
mhm.
homeowner and I was like, tighten up, sis. But two is just like, well, longevity, stability, loyalty, that proves something to companies. And
Mhm,
unfortunately, we are just a number. We are just
mhm,
that. They don't care that, oh, Rod, you're so personable and you care and you're this and you're that. Is can you produce? Can you
mhm,
make this person happy? Can
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to that, it's just like you can't prove that you are all of these things in 12 months when you are going along all these other numbers or other
mhm,
individuals. So to the point, it is very frustrating, but I do understand it and
mhm.
I do support it. But the old heads don't, and I understand why they don't either because it's just
Yeah,
like, it makes sense. So I feel like I'm in that middle cusp.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
she
And I
just
mean, I
called us
could.
old heads, bro.
Oh no, that's cool. I can accept it now.
Respect it.
People call
Yeah.
me Unc.
Yeah, we
You
unk
know,
now, bro. We unk
but
mode now.
yeah. But I mean, I agree. I can see. I actually have admiration for people that can just up and leave. Sometimes I don't think it's that smart, but I do have admiration that you have the gall to actually do it.
Yep.
I don't have that, right? And maybe if I didn't have as much responsibility on my plate, maybe I would, but I would say, there's certain admiration that you have for that. But then on the flip side, I have a bigger admiration for overcoming obstacles and facing that adversity. You know, there's beauty in adversity
Right.
and being able to fight through and power through and maybe make some changes for the company you're with, or even if you learn some things that's going to help you build your own, that's cool too. But I you know, it's a tough place to be in. I agree. Like you can be in the middle because I can see both sides, but I also see a lot of people running from adversity. I also see a lot of people wanting to take the easy route and not being able to accept feedback, right? The first time you get some negative feedback that you don't agree with, you're ready to run. Like, no, like listen to what that feedback is. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if it's valid, it could be valid feedback that you're going to get from the next place or you know, down the road. These are things that help build us into being wise individuals, in my opinion. And wisdom only come from learning experiences, right? And you can learn either firsthand or you can learn from others, but it still requires learning. You have to see those things. So that's why I say when you're not sticking through or trying to take the easy route or run quickly from things, not saying that's what people are doing, I think that that doesn't help build your character and the callous that you need to survive in this world. That's just my opinion.
Nah, man, that's the curse.
Yeah.
That's that curse.
And it kind of goes back to, since we're in Women's History Month and all,
Yeah.
you must never be fearful about what you are doing when it is right, and that's what Rosa Parks
Mm-hmm.
said, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, essentially,
Mm.
it's like one of those things where it's like, it's not about, always about who, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
right as opposed to what is right. And I really do feel like that when it comes to some of the things that we go through, right? Like you said, feedback is tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And adversity, sticking out when times is tough is something that, the next generation has proven to just be like, nah, it's too hard. I'm going to move on to something easier. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that goes back to evolution in the world
Mm-hmm.
of today, right? Like, why work harder when you can work smarter? And
Right.
smarter doesn't always mean easier. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the ignorant piece, right? The piece that
Mm-hmm.
they're missing, right? Um, so yeah, I just wanted to plug that in to
For
stay
sure.
relevant with our
Oh,
topic.
yeah. No, I
For
love
sure.
it. I love it. Yo, what questions you want to throw our way?
Yes. So
What's on your mind?
yeah. So with it being Women's History Month, and
Yes.
we all have women in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and in the world of today, with 'cause the last time I was on, it was about the LGBTQ plus community and all of the things that's going on in that world with
Yes.
voting and with women's rights. I just wanted to know, as allies to the community, how you guys feel about the plug and play with the trans women and Women's History Month and wanting to be, in that space. Like to go down in history for the month of, Women's History Month. What
Mm-hmm.
are you guys' thoughts?
Man, it's so gray. Actually, I knew you was gonna ask that question. I was thinking about this, and I actually had a conversation with somebody I work with who's in the community, a gentleman, and it was like, yo, and I asked him because I was like, yo, bro, what you think about this? Like, how does this? Is it history or is it not? And he was like, that the best educated. He was like, it's not a quote unquote historic moment to the world, but it's a historic moment to the individual. And I was like, damn, bars. Because
Mm.
now, for me, I don't think when getting that answer, I was like, oh, this, yeah, it's Women's History Month. The women in the past history, the
Hmm.
women who move forward is, but whatever they did, yes, it's historic to the individual. Now, if he or she, they're like, yo, they want their flowers, like they have all right to say that, but let's be mindful of what exactly the month is. You know what I'm saying? We still gonna love you those 30 days and after those 30 days, but just understand like what this moment is right now. And so when I got that type of feedback, like, yo, it's history, but it's history to the individual. So that's where when people are speaking from it, kind of get educated me. Like, it just when someone's feeling that kind of way, they're speaking from their personal space.
Hmm.
And so, but should it be like, yeah, let's add that to the Women's History Month? I don't think so. Um, you know, But I mean, if you, I give you a high five. You know what I mean? It's all love. I'm not gonna disrespect
Mm,
you. You know what I mean? But like, let's just be mindful, man. And another quote that was given to me, man, by a mentor of mine, man. You know, everything that's equal ain't fair, and everything fair ain't equal.
Mm, bars. I
mm,
say that all the
So,
time. There we go.
so like, just you know, relax, put your feet up for this 30 days. If we ain't giving you all your flowers, you still getting some. But like, let's just be mindful of the situation. So I would
yeah,
say no. In short, the short answer.
yeah. I mean, you said it pretty beautifully. Like it's a tough thing to consider, right? Like I think about it. Obviously, I'm a sports fanatic, but I think about like let's say,
Zion, you use that one.
well, I was going to even say, let's say, Caitlin Clark, right, who is
Oh, baller
killing it right now, right, in women's basketball. Probably can go hoop with some men somewhere and
right
kill
now.
them as well. But let's say she came out and said that, you know what, I am actually a trans. My name used to be,
Carl.
Carl. Yeah, Carl. Something. I was trying to think of something with a C or K, but yeah, Carl. Um, and then they wanted to be recognized as, the leading scorer in women's basketball. That would be tough for me, right? That'd be tough to recognize. I still would recognize that you are historic, but again, I don't think it would be looked at in the same light as like a Cheryl Miller or a Candace Parker because
Yeah,
the attributes are different. You know what
right.
I mean? So it's tough. I think yeah, I'm with T on that one. I think we can celebrate you in history, but specifically saying to women's history, that's a tough thing to say in general. I think there will be situations, and I think there'll be exceptions to the rule, but overall, I would have to say unlikely, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I appreciate
Yeah.
both of you guys'
Yeah.
answers. I agree as well. It was something that I spoke about with a few people as well, like just to kind of get their thoughts, because I'm all about different perspectives and different
Hmm.
opinions, because sometimes it's enlightful and it could sway mine. Sometimes it
Hmm.
can't. I'm just standing 10 toes on business sometimes, but I totally agree. And then I just kind of feel like sometimes we try to overcomplicate things. Where I said
Hmm.
Yes.
earlier, simplicity is just always going to be sometimes the best case scenario for certain things. And I feel like
Hmm.
we have June. June is to celebrate Pride, and that's to celebrate current, past, future.
Hmm.
And so I would definitely say we can definitely celebrate your historic moment in June.
Hmm.
But yeah, I totally appreciate you guys answering that, because I was, that's something I've been asking people since the first of this month, and I pretty much, for the most part, I've gotten the same answer around the board, because it's just like
Mm,
we love you guys. Um, we love, no matter what you identify as, but if you were genetically born a woman and you do something that's historic and it goes down, absolutely. March
Hmm.
is your month and it will be your month moving forward. Uh, but everyone
yeah.
else, it just, you don't
That's
always have to plug and play.
yeah.
Hmm.
Cause it's almost what was that lady, man? And I'm it might seem like I'm making light, but y'all remember that man? What was that lady? It was Carol something. Y'all remember? Y'all know what I'm talking about. That she was black and she had ended up working for the NAACP chapter. She had like got the job,
Rachel,
everything.
is that Rachel
Rachel
Leigh?
Dolezal.
Uh,
Rachel Dolezal. Yes. Like that's kind of like what you know what I mean?
Hmm.
She was like, yo, I'm black. So I'm about to be celebrating Black History Month and everything I've done. And then it came out like, yo, she white. Like all the, high school, college photos, all of that started coming out. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, she ended up going to the
uh-huh.
tanning booth. She ended up getting the
Uh-huh.
braids.
I mean, she looked black. I mean,
Bro,
I couldn't tell,
she did it, bro.
but
She was in the salon getting it done.
But I
You know,
will say, I know people still give her flack and like they still hate on her. But shout out to her because you don't see too many people from the Caucasus Mountain that wanna take that plunge and go through the issues that we go through.
she
So
did,
shout
bro.
out to
She
her.
was working at the end. She was on the end of the NAACP chapter out there in
Yeah,
Washington
yeah.
State. So she was there, and like she was, And people said like she was one of the most outstanding members and employees there at that Washington State chapter, though.
For sure.
But she was showing up, not her authentic self. You know what I mean?
But
And so I don't know,
but
man. That was weird.
but to her, that's who she want to be, right?
Yeah.
If people can show up and say they're a damn cat, why can't she show up and
No,
say she
no,
black, bro?
no, no.
But that goes back to the politic conversation earlier.
Hmm.
Of like if you do like a surface level research, you see one thing about her, but then if
Hmm.
you dig deeper in the trenches, then
Mhm.
you find something totally different. And I feel like when it comes to voting, we just stay very surface, like, oh,
Hmm.
my auntie said vote yes because X, Y, and Z. And then, but if you really did your own research, your auntie only said yes because of X, Y, and Z, and not really because she took a deep dive into it. So that
Hmm.
was a good example to segue into what we were talking about earlier, because again, everything is, a lot of stuff in the world is subjective, right? And it all
Hmm.
goes between delivery and perception. And that's just in life in general. That's like my message in my professional and personal world. It's like our perceptions are going to be based off of the delivery, and the delivery is going to be based off the messenger and how we emotionally feel about the messenger and the emotions that they're displaying during that message. So again, all of it goes back to just doing your own research, because no matter what the emotional standpoint is, if you do enough research, you're going to get down to the nitty gritty of what's important anyways.
Hmm.
All day. And and I want to correct myself because she's not Rachel Dolezal no more. She's still going, even though she got she resigned. Yeah, she changed her name to Nkechi Diallo.
No
Oh,
way.
just
Oh,
way.
okay.
Like I
Whoa.
mean, again,
Oh yeah, I see
like
that.
what she did was wrong, right? Right to say she was this ethnic race and all that. But what she was doing when she was in those chapters and doing those things, she was speaking up for people. She was advocating. So I don't want to be like, oh, she just did it to get clout. But that's a hairy situation, man. I don't know, man. Yeah, but she changed her name.
It's crazy because I totally off subject though, but like, even there's a lot of people that change their name, and it's just like, well, when we Google you, they tell us what you go by now. So what really be the point? Like, unless, like, if you're famous, right? Like, you're well known, it's almost no sense of changing your name, because we're going to find you even when we're not looking for you. Like you said, you didn't even know her name was changed. You probably just Googled her, and then her
Yeah,
new
I
name popped.
did.
And that's what happens, right? Because I think I did that with Michael Jackson's son, Blanket. It's like, oh, he changed his name, but we would just Google your new name now. So
Blanket. That is a name right there. Okay.
uh, that's a blanket statement. Shout out. Shout out, man. Man, so what else is on your mind, Christy? That was a good question though, because definitely I had a feeling he was gonna ask something like that. And for me, just educate myself a few weeks ago, I asked the question to somebody like, "Man, what you think about that?" And then
yeah.
I just always wanted to know because it has been on the news too that I
Mhm.
saw. It was on the local news, Rod, here in Charlotte.
Okay.
So people were upset about it. And so I was like, "Yo, man, what's your take on this, bro? Like, help me understand this because maybe I think this is a little overkill."
No, yeah, that was definitely my number one question that I had coming to here, because it's like that's the one that's been like really talked about in the world, like in the last like week and a half. Like that's like the question that everybody's
Yeah,
asking each
it's on
other,
the
and
news.
I'm
I
just
saw it
like,
on the local news
yeah.
here. I saw it on the local
And
news
I was like,
here.
I need to get their thoughts. I need to know their answers, their opinions, because you guys matter. Your opinion matters.
We appreciate that. Like, so you said majority of the people. So
Yes.
what happened to the minority of the people? They was like, "Yo, Christy, like, nah, you need to recognize this." Like
Yeah.
how do you respond to that?
Yeah. Great question.
Fortunately,
Because
I haven't had that, so I would like to know.
you get those people who feel like because you are a part of a said, community or
Right.
organization or whatever, that you should be down 100% on everything that's in that world. And I'm like, that is asinine that you would say that, because there's things that I can throw at you right now that you wouldn't agree to, but I'm like, but your family or community or whatever would say otherwise. So
Hmm.
I literally just kind of throw it back, like, why do you feel so strong about that opinion, and why do you feel like that opinion should be placed on me as well to have that same opinion and outlook? And, uh, you know,
Hmm.
Essentially went back to the whole conversation of the whole fair versus equal situation. It's just like at the end of the day, it's gonna be subjective because you feel one way and I feel the other. But ultimately, it comes from, honestly, to just be very candid and transparent, it comes from people who are, in that community that are transitioning or have transitioned
Right.
or has family members or friends. So
Hmm.
of course
For
you're
sure.
you're a little bit more emotional on that standpoint, and sometimes your emotions will make you blinded to other people's opinions, right? Because just because
Mhm.
it's my opinion doesn't mean it's true, but it might be hard for you to see my way of thinking because you're so blinded by your situation, which is totally fair. I understand it. We all get, blind on some topic or another based off of how close we are to the situation. So I handle it with love and care and understanding, but ultimately I stand 10 toes down on how I believe and how I feel when I'm really there, right?
Mhm.
And I you know how you kind of gently, kindly push someone? That's all I do. I just kindly and gently and with love push them in their own direction. If you can't understand it or at least respect it, then our
Right.
conversation is over. I haven't had anybody be disrespectful about it. I do think sometimes the emotion can take you to a level that I feel is uncomfortable
Right.
for
Mhm.
me personally, and it's just like, okay, at this point we can definitely dead the conversation. We both said our piece, and you can walk away as friends. So the minority is usually people that's just a little has been from my conversations, people that's a little too close to the situation or in the situation.
Yeah. I think shoot, we been talking about this at the whole episode so far, man. Emotions. Everybody's so damn emotional. So like, and it's
Wow.
okay to have emotions, but you
Absolutely.
gotta think. Stop and think. Rod, I heard you
Your
say,
emotions
bruh.
can't be your leading force, that's for sure.
Mhm. For real. Don't be Carl Thomas out here.
No, man. Great song, but that I mean, I the world, the media, it plays it. They'll make $1 million off that. I can see trillions. You know what I mean? Just playing off emotion every day. Just run this commercial, run this ad, run this, say this to what Rob point saying. This probably is. Me and Rob was both running for president or whatever. We probably having conversations behind the scenes, but I gotta attack him on camera. Anytime I get in front of a mic, I gotta go low. You know what I mean? And then vice versa. He's gonna do the same thing, and then behind here was like, yo, all right, we got these donations, we got this funding. All right, what we about to do? That's his name of the game. And then it's like, oh, we need more money. Let's get more emotional. And that's what it is. Like, let's go get more emotional. Let's say some crazy things.
Right.
Like that's probably happening 90% of the time. Then the other 10%, which to me is a heavy 10%, it kind of almost equates to the 90 is stupidity.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Or what Rod said, not he didn't want to make light, but not his ignorance. We're gonna say
Mhm.
things because this is coming from mine. I'm good. I'm living in a good. My house is good. My house is great. This and this and this. I'm gonna say something stupid that people that's not living like you expect them to equate to that. And that happens a
Mhm.
lot. So yeah, I mean, stop being so emotional though. But do your education. Christy told y'all do your education. If you ain't doing your education, man, start figuring it out. Me and Rod said it before. I know Christy, backed it as well. Like, hey man, like check out your city council. What they doing? What's your governor doing? What's your mayor doing?
Hmm.
He just chilling or she chilling? Like, what's going on?
Shout out to Kwame.
That's y'all. He was in them streets. He was in those streets, man. Yo, Chrissy. Yep. And for people who don't know, Chrissy, she. Well, you're in Ohio now, but native of Detroit. So I was gonna ask you, like, man, what is Kwame up to
I know
these days?
he out living a free life.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Kwame, if you ever come across this pod, you need a job, hit me up.
There you go.
Dang. Yeah, if you ever need a job, you can find Christy on LinkedIn. You know what I'm saying? You can chop it up.
Shout out to 313 Day coming up in 3 days.
Oh yeah. You already know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Last year we did an episode around this time. We had to educate DC on that. Even
Mhm.
my time living up there, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. It gets
Yeah.
lit. It gets lit for sure. Hopefully the weather's good.
We've been having some decent weather. I can't even complain just due to the fact that, like, I don't want to talk about it because we ain't out the trenches yet, but it's
Mhm.
been nice. We really can't complain. And if you complaining, you just a complainer because we didn't have some
Right.
decent weather.
You
Yeah,
know,
I still check the Michigan weather every day. See what my mom and them going through up there. So
right?
yeah, y'all been good. I mean, shoot, there was been a couple days you were
I
better
thought
than us out
70.
here.
It was like
Uh,
70s, and we dealing with like rain from like the Caribbean. We ain't got to deal with this wind and rain coming from the Caribbean. So nah, definitely that's what's up, man. Cause yeah, it's funny though. You say like it's March, y'all ain't out the trenches. That's the funny thing to me, man. Like it's March, and I'm like, man, I need to like some of this grass starting to come up. I gotta like start scalping the grass. That's crazy.
mm-hmm.
I don't miss that. Shout out Detroit though. Love it, but I don't miss that snow.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. And Chrissy, I know you in Ohio too, but nah.
It's the same
Yep,
weather,
Mm.
yep.
same
It's
weather.
all the same. It is all the same. So let me to keep it light, and I know because we almost at an hour though. But now that you in Ohio,
Mhm,
you from Michigan,
mhm.
you still got your Michigan plates.
Nah, I got my Ohio plates, and it ain't because I'm a Buckeye girly. It's because the insurance cheaper.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Just saying, I can rep it anywhere else, but when it comes to the insurance, it's definitely a way better deal than Michigan, for sure.
For sure,
Most places are.
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
So, Chris, before we go, like one last thing,
Mhm.
because I had to bring this back because she got on my head. She was like, "Y'all ain't asked me this last question." We was having a good time conversating, and with you being in the community, being a
Mhm.
black woman, it's Women's History Month. As you mentioned too, we just celebrated Black History Month. What flag are you planting for the next young lady, your daughter, anybody? Just the next young lady that's looking your way, coming behind you. What flag are you planting? What road are you looking to navigate to make easier?
Mm, that is a really solid question.
Hey, you asked for
Yeah, I love that.
it. You asked for it.
Honestly, in short, confidence.
Hmm.
Because confidence is the leading force for you to do anything. Everything you've ever wanted is sitting on the other side of fear. Bars.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, exuding
Yeah.
confidence for the ones behind me, especially my daughter and anyone who looks at me on a regular day, I do try to exude confidence, no matter what insecurities may be, shining through. No matter what adversities I'm facing, confidence is important. Confidence is gonna get you where you need to go. That fake it till you make it sometimes is the thing you got to do in life, and sometimes it's scary. The
Mm-hmm.
unknown is scary. Not feeling like whatever your opinion may be that you're standing
Right.
10 toes down may not be, something that everybody else is going to agree with, but being able to have that confidence to stand on business with what you believe in.
Mm,
So I'm gonna say confidence. If I had to just throw one thing out there to be very simple but impactful, is definitely confidence for sure.
that's what's up. It's funny you say that. Rod, literally, bro. Before we got on air. My youngest one, man, she is like she speaks her mind. And so today, earlier today, she's like, I'm gonna be a teacher. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I thought you wanted to swim. I can do both. And I'm like, you know what? You can check me. Yep, sure can. You sure can. And
Period.
Rod, you know how she is, man. You know how PJ get with that forceful tone. Like I said
Mm-hmm.
what I said. And so she's like, I'm gonna do both. And I'm like, you know what, you sure can. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Love
not be
that.
an excellent, the world's best swimmer and one of the world's best teachers? Let's
That's
do
Absolutely.
right.
it.
Because who
You know
said
what I mean? But it was
you
just the way she said it, like, I'm gonna do both. Like, chill. Like, so that confidence, man, and I don't want to extinguish that. She said what she said, so I said, let's get it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm with it. I'm with that. And so one last thing, if you can share,
hmm
because we brought you on as Christy J. You said you're changing it. We going to Jared. So like, what's going on? Can we get it? Can we get an
Yes.
Evite? Can we get an Evite? I know we might not be able to make it, and we don't want to. Card stock is real when y'all sending out the real thing. But
Yes, you are
we getting an
so
invite. Me and
funny.
Rod getting an Evite. What's going on?
Listen, so When I was on the show the last time,
Yes.
I was what month was that? Oh, wait.
I don't know.
Come on, you supposed to be.
August. Yeah, I be
I was gonna
remembering.
say
I
you
think
like
August.
you are the dictionary. Come
It
on,
was
Right.
you
August.
keep up with it.
Dang,
Um,
y'all on my head.
okay, yeah, so it's August. So yeah, so in August I would let's say I finalized my divorce. I never changed my name.
Mhm.
And I'm getting remarried, so
Mm.
I'm definitely changing my
Congratulations.
name. Yeah, and
Congratulations.
it's around the corner, so boom, mic drop.
Dang. Well, all right. What month? What month? Is like June, July, summertime, springtime.
You ready for this?
All right. It's July 4th.
For forever.
Ah, so it is July 4th.
No, for forever.
What's that?
For
Hmm. Oh, so
forever.
April 4th. All
Yeah.
right, that's what's up. Oh, 4-4. I mean, because I think 2-4, but I get it. 4-4. Ah, I got you. Bars.
Ah,
All right,
yeah.
I'm catching up. I was literally on that slow bus.
I was like, if you don't get it this time, we just gotta let it go.
Yeah, man. I'm about to say cue the music, but
But yes,
no,
that is super
congratulations.
exciting, and it's gonna be very low key. So
Oh, you
don't
like
feel like you guys weren't invited.
you feel like we weren't
Nice.
I
invited?
said don't feel like you weren't.
No, no, no. That's why I said we can get an Evite though. I get it. Y'all got to start sending those invitations out. You probably already did. Got them
There is
all
no
made
invites. It's gonna be
nice and
very
pretty.
intimate and very,
Yeah.
I'm so discreet. Life just goes, and I
Mm-mm.
just kind of plug and play as it go, and just go. I be in my own zone, man, in my own business.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Not mad at that. Yeah.
that.
Yeah. But congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So when y'all get that link, that
Yeah. Like,
link to drop a gift.
all right. We'll see what we do.
For sure.
We're
Y'all
gonna pull a
like
whole
how I
bunch of
plugged and
pins.
played that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what
Love
you
For
that.
did there.
sure.
Love that for me.
We're gonna scratch up some coin. No, man, we definitely happy for you though, for sure. Because as
Appreciate
soon as
that.
you said that, I'm like, okay, somebody went to Jared's. Who went
Listen,
to
okay,
Jared's?
come on.
All right, let me ask this before we go. Who asked who?
Ooh, spicy. Honestly, I feel like it was mutual. I'll have to ask her. I'll have to ask her. I feel like it was mutual, but I could just be Delulu. I, because it really wasn't an ask. It was more like a conversation. Like, yeah,
Mm,
Mm.
you know.
She gonna listen to the show. She gonna be like, yo,
She like you talk
don't
too
be
much,
acting like you put this all together.
and she gonna tell me I talk too much. I know for a fact. I'm like, at least I didn't name drop. I could have name dropped, and I didn't. You should love that for
Yeah.
Mhm.
you.
Yeah,
Right.
see? You know what I'm saying? See, she keep the she keep the Jay-Z thing like hey, put my name out here in the media. Kelly
Yeah.
Rowland. Remember you that's that Kelly Rowland thing. She like stop asking me about Beyonce. I don't know if y'all saw that recently.
Yes.
She's
I'm
spazzed
happy for
out.
my sister, but stop asking me about her.
I mean, that's fair too.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
congratulations again. We
Thank you.
as always, we appreciate you. You're a friend of the show. Um,
Yes.
so me, DC, right here on that road ride, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we be on the lookout. We be on the lookout. And yeah,
Oh
we
yeah, for
definitely happy for you.
sure. And the
Definitely happy for
last
you.
thing, because I know I'm gonna be back.
Yeah.
Just know that I'm gonna be back. But I next time I'm on, give me something light and airy. Okay? No
Mhm.
politics,
Yeah, I
no
mean, obviously,
community. I
yeah, that's
need light
cool.
and airy because
Oh,
I'm
you all right?
with you.
We with
I'm
it.
with you.
all
We could
right,
just be,
see,
we could
I
just
got
be.
Rod stamp.
Oh,
I
that's
feel like
fine.
out of everybody on the call, I have to be making sure Rod's on, on because I feel like DC he pretty much go with the flow, easy breezy.
Yeah.
TU2 Rod, he be like, I don't know about that. And you be like, okay. So now
But you
that
know
now
you
that he
dog.
said yeah, so since he
You know
said
you dog.
okay, so since he said he agreed, I know I'll be
Mhm.
back with some
We
light
in
and
here.
airy. There we go.
For
No,
sure.
you friend of the
For sure.
show. We be happy to have you back. You know what I'm
Appreciate
saying?
it.
You know, time is everything.
Oh
And like
yeah,
I
for
said, it was
sure.
Women's History Month. That's why I hit you. I'm like, yo, what you doing? You know, we gotta have a conversation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna send you these. We can go over this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's the right time. You know what I'm saying? Because our wives listen. We have a decent group of females who listen to the show and like to hear different perspectives. So as we celebrate this historic month behind us and a woman like yourself creating more history. So that's where we at with it.
Absolutely.
So, but that we definitely gonna have you back, and we gonna be ignorant.
Well, thanks for
How about
having
that?
me.
For sure.
I love
So
being
Rod, man,
here.
Rod, What's
Yes,
the
sir.
words? What's the words of encouragement, man, for the people, man?
I actually got this one from a woman, Dr. Mae Jemison, the
Mm.
first female African American astronaut. Never be limited by other people's limited imaginations.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Shout out Mae Jemison. So I'm with you just dropping that. I'm not gonna drop one for the week.
Mm,
You know what
I'm
I'm saying?
telling
Because you already dropped May, and
you. Hmm.
she one of the ones.
For sure.
So Christy, as always, appreciate you. You are a sister to this show. So don't ever forget. So we definitely gonna look forward to having you back again. It's always good conversation, man. And Rod, as always. DC, congratulations again to you, man. I know you're a proud dad on the road, man, grinning from ear to ear. No more tuition. No more tuition.
Mm.
He did it, man. And so, and shout out to his daughter Maya. We nothing but love for you, and we appreciate you. We looking forward what's next. You just beginning. You're just beginning as a young lady. Soon to make history too. So, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I know Rod, DZ. Yeah, we can't wait.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah, we can't wait.
exciting.
We can't wait.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, man, Rod kick you with those three words. I ended with those three. Cue the music.